What is going on? I want to welcome you from Half Court today, of course, being October 19th, the beginning of the 2021-2022 NBA season, the 75th NBA season, the 75th anniversary of the NBA, Troy. That is freaking unbelievable. And today we have an episode to celebrate it because today, Troy, you and me, we're going to be doing our predictions for everything that we're expecting this season. And with that, Troy, happy opening day, brother. How are you doing?
Happy opening day. I'm doing good, Sean. 2021-2022 NBA season is here. We are just days away, hours away from our Detroit Pistons debut on Wednesday.
Woo! Let's go, man. Oh, my goodness, dude. So you, myself, and Robert from the Pizza Palace, we are all going to be meeting at the Little Caesars Arena, and all three of us are going to be sitting together cheering on our Detroit Pistons. Robert still hasn't decided who he's cheering for because that is who he is, but that is okay. You'll hear about that on Thursday on this channel, by the way. But yeah, we'll be there. And right now, you and I, we were just talking about this right before the pod. This might not be big news to any other NBA community because this really isn't big news at all. But for us, we are on Cade watch right now because right now we do not know if he is going to be making his debut this Wednesday. And Troy, I'm still going to have a great time. It is still going to be incredible. Just, I don't even know the emotion I'm going to feel being in an NBA arena again with no restrictions, everyone there just yelling and screaming. I honestly might cry just because how much I love that atmosphere. It is literally my favorite thing in the world. But if Cade doesn't play, there is no way to adequately describe just how less interesting that game would be. I mean, don't get me wrong, it would still be fun. I mean, we get to see the Chicago Bulls team live. We get to see all these awesome players. Like, we get to see Lonzo Ball, which I'm freaking hyped about. And we also get to see Killian, and we get to see Sadiq and Jeremy Grant, and a lot of our guys just improved, but you know exactly what I mean.
I do, Sean.
So how is it sitting with you? Where's your head at mentally?
Yeah, my head definitely. I'm expecting the worst, hoping for the best, I guess, kind of thing. Yeah, you're right, Sean. It's gonna be amazing to see Cade play. We kind of got these tickets opening night for Cade. There's 81 games of the home season and then 81 away games.
41.
Oh, yes. 41 away games, 41 home games to make an 82-game season. Thanks for catching me there, Sean.
162 NBA games. Oh, no. Listen, man.
So, we could have picked any game on the home schedule. We wanted that first one, that Cade Cunningham's opening night. And we still very well could see that. But man, if somehow Cade doesn't play, like you said, Cade, Sadiq Bey, Killian Hayes, Jeremy Grant, it'll all be worth it. Beef stew, it'll be fun.
Listen, I think the reason why they're being so ambiguous about it, and I honestly respect it, is because this is just part of the new culture that Detroit is establishing with Troy Weaver and with Dwayne Casey. So, I was actually listening to the Bun and Cardigan show featuring a friend of the show, Nick Henkel and James Edwards III. Amazing Pistons podcast. Go check it out. I'm keeping that in. Anyway, so I was listening to their podcast, and they were talking about how Detroit is actually one of the only franchises in the league that doesn't allow media to actually witness practice. Media is fully barred of and not allowed in practice. And I think it's kind of similar to how certain teams in the NFL just kind of keep everything under the sleeves. You know what I mean? Like, I think I fully anticipate that they know the answer of if Cade is going to play or not. I honestly expect the answer to be that Cade will play. I think if you look at like even promotional material that the Pistons made, they said 2 days until the debut of Cade Cunningham. You know
Yeah,
what
I
I
did
mean?
see that. I
So
did
like,
see
you
that.
know, obviously they were probably planning that no matter what. That's going to be there no matter what because he's going to be there in the arena no matter what. But I don't know, man. It's just I do just for whatever reason the kid in me that wants to hope and wants to dream, like I am just Mr. Positive, and it is like, you know what, no matter what, it's gonna be fun. But I have a feeling we're gonna be able to see Cade Cunningham play, and you know what,
Woo!
I hope that's the case.
Me
But
too.
but here's the good news, man. Assuming that he's everything that we thought he was, or everything that we think he will be, we're gonna be seeing this guy play for 10 years plus at least in a Detroit Pistons uniform. So, you know, I don't know about you, Troy, but I'm definitely gonna be trying to make it out there a bit this season, if possible. So, and we're gonna be talking about that guy all season long, and we're gonna be talking about all things NBA because this, ladies and gentlemen, is From Half Court, where each and every week Troy and I sit down and talk all things NBA basketball. If you like that, be sure to subscribe to this channel, as there are other shows, other podcasts, other videos produced, all things for NBA fans. You better follow this guy on Twitter, Troy at TroySergey44, and you can follow me on there as well if you'd like at Sean Half Court. Be sure to share with your friends, like this video, and subscribe. And with that, Troy, let's talk all things. What's going on? So first of all, before we get into predictions and everything, I do kind of want to do a little bit of a different prediction, and that is we got some games to predict for Tuesday night, my friend. So right now we are recording. Our schedules don't always line up the best because, you know, that's just how life goes. You know what I mean? Troy and I do this outside of our obligations, and we had the option of either doing this Tuesday night or doing this on late Monday night. And I was like, well, I'm not missing a single second of either of these games on Tuesday. So Troy, I'll see you at 11 because, man, these games, man, they're going to be so good. So first, both, by the way, it's all going to be on TNT. First, the season always starts with the ring presentation, and what better foe for the Milwaukee Bucks on opening night than the team that was a toe away from having those rings themselves, the Brooklyn Nets, with Kevin Durant and James Harden playing for the Brooklyn Nets. By the way, since the last time we recorded this podcast, there has not been any updates on Kyrie Irving at this time. He is not vaccinated and will not be playing for the Brooklyn Nets this season. Wild, but that is Troy, that is not a conversation for right now. Maybe we'll do some prop bets on him in a bit. So we have the Nets and the Bucks. And then we have the Warriors and the Lakers. We'll talk about the Warriors and the Lakers in a minute, because that I feel like that's an entirely separate conversation. These games having different storylines. Troy, what is of this game, this Nets Bucks matchup, opening night, ring presentation? By the way, Vegas currently has the money line at Milwaukee -1, meaning that they favor Milwaukee, but by a very thin margin. A -1 essentially means it's a toss up. So with that, Troy, what intrigues you about this matchup? I mean, there's so much, right? Like what stands out in particular?
Biggest thing that stands out for me is a 7-foot tall assassin by the name of Kevin Durant.
Kevin freaking Durant, man.
Yeah, Kevin Durant is who my eyes are on in this game.
Oh.
I mean, I will never forget the press conference after that Game 7 lost in overtime against the Bucks this past year in the Eastern Conference semifinals.
Yeah.
And I remember the news person asked, the reporter asked, you had 51 points tonight, but your team came up short. How do you feel? And he literally just said, who cares? Like he's
Yeah.
that kind of guy. He's a competitor. He wants to win. This Milwaukee team, I'm not going to say they got lucky because they are a very talented team, but when you're missing Kyrie Irving for that stretch and, you did make some shots down the stretch with Chris Middleton and Giannis even, and then Brooklyn missed some shots as well as had their foot on the line for one shot in particular. So I guess I see Kevin Durant going off, absolutely off. So he is where my number one eyes are on tomorrow night or tonight. This will be aired on Tuesday.
Yeah. Over under 30.
We'll say it again.
Over under 30.
Over
under 40.
Over
under 50.
Under.
All right, yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
he's gonna get a 42-point night.
Listen.
You heard it from me first.
42. Okay, I like it. Listen, I mean, he's gonna get his points, right? I mean, it's Kevin freaking Durant. I'd look out for James Harden though for sure too. I think people forget he did not exactly have the ending that he wanted. To touch on the other side, because I mean, obviously there's a lot to talk about with the Brooklyn Nets, obviously with the Kyrie situation, with James Harden, with Kevin Durant, great assembly of players. But then you have the Milwaukee Bucks, who coming off of an awesome run. I mean, Giannis just willed that team to a championship.
He did.
He did what so few stars ever could have done. And I think, he's just now going to be, for the rest of his career, a top 3, top 5 player in the world, minimum.
And a champion forever.
Yeah, 100%. And a champion, a true champion. The scary thing about this team is Giannis's jump shot actually looking better in the preseason.
I was going to say that. We had to touch on that.
Yeah, so his release has gotten significantly quicker. His release has gotten significantly cleaner. He has shown tendencies to actually pull up from 3, like come down the court and pull up for 3, which, I mean, obviously that's not the number one thing that you want Giannis to do, but if for whatever reason teams are trying to disrespect him and play that game where they're just going to try to let him shoot it from wherever he wants, the thing is that Giannis is showing that he is way more comfortable shooting. He looks way more comfortable. And I don't know about you, Troy, but if this is if this is not just a preseason good run, and if this is a permanent change we can expect to see in Giannis's game, league's chalked.
And it's going to get competitive between those two teams too. There's going to be some bad blood between those two, Milwaukee and Brooklyn. If we see a clean, competitive championship like Giannis Antetokounmpo, even with his talented role players on his team going against the two-headed star now of Harden and Durant, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun Eastern Conference Finals.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Touched on teams like Atlanta,
Atlanta, Miami, Philadelphia is still in the mix somehow. I mean, listen, the Boston Celtics, you can't ever rule them out. Even if they want to try to make you.
The East is back.
The East is 100% back, and it's I don't think it's ever looked this top heavy. Just from
no, it hasn't. It's looking like the West, and we haven't even talked about the West.
Yeah, we'll get there in a second. But I wanna let's just real quick, opening game of the season, Nets Bucks. Who you got?
Brooklyn Nets.
I got the Nets as well. Historically, teams actually perform worse on ring night. I think for whatever reason, just getting that ring and just kind of celebrating that just takes some focus away on the game. I mean, it's hard to have that competitive fire to match the guys on the other side that have to watch you get your ring and want to
Mm-hmm.
be the one that's getting the ring. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think the Nets win. And then we have Lakers Warriors. Man, Adam Silver has blessed us with Steph Curry versus LeBron James opening night. First time that we're going to see the Staples Center packed in a long time, which is going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to see Steph Curry and the Warriors come out and compete opening night against such a good team. The debut of Russell Westbrook in the system of the Lakers alongside Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Currently, Vegas has this one at the Lakers -3.5. So, close scoring game, but Lakers win by a couple buckets. So with that, Troy, what's obviously the story, there's a lot of storylines here. What are your expectations for the Warriors this season? I want to know what your thoughts are on what's happening in Golden State.
Well, they have to be, in my opinion, they have to be at least a little bit above a play-in team. The West the West is too good to be playing in those play-in tournaments if you're a team as loaded and historically as talented as the Golden State Warriors. And I watched your video about where you did assess the Warriors, Sean, not a couple of days ago, not too long ago. And yeah, it's
check it out, by the way.
Yeah, check it out, by the way. It's just amazing how, 5 years ago or 6 seasons ago now, they went 72 and
73-9.
73-9, I'm sorry. And then they won championships. They lost that year to the Cleveland Cavaliers in game 7. And then, they're still the top tier in the league. And they won 2 after that with Kevin Durant. And they went to the finals against the Raptors and lost. But they were, the West wasn't a question. Sure, the West was competitive, but we knew who was getting out of the West every year, right?
The question wasn't who was going to the finals. The question was how many games.
Yes, correct. That was the question for my whole college career, our college careers, right? It was always Warriors. That's when they were in their dynasty. And then they're the worst team in the league. And they get Weisman in the draft. And they're improving, and they got Klay Thompson injured. And so I think it's a matter of how far really in his career can Steph Curry take that team, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100% that team.
How can his supporting cast surround him, help take him to above a play-in seed?
Will we ever see the true Splash Brothers again? Is I think a question we're gonna have to really get an answer of this season. Is listen, Klay Thompson will be making his return to the court, and it's been since 2019. It has been since the 2019 NBA Finals against the Toronto Raptors, and a lot has changed and a lot has happened since then. And so now they're in a situation. New arena, post-pandemic, new city, new roster, new teammates, Steph Curry. I think those guys will gel forever. But it's just the wonder of what Klay Thompson are we getting? I personally think that Klay Thompson will be the Klay Thompson of old. I think there's any guy that can overcome anything like that. It's Klay Thompson, and his game was never really relying on his athleticism anyway. It was on his ability to defend, his ability to shoot the ball, and his overall IQ in the game. So to me, I think he's gonna be just fine. That's just me.
Yeah, I definitely lean that way too, Sean. And I think Klay Thompson will be a good addition when he's back and ready. And Steph, again, when you have a touch like Steph's, you don't lose that touch, right?
No matter,
you just don't lose it. So I'm excited for this team. I really am. And I think Weisman is such a cool addition too with his athleticism and his ability to defend down in the post and
We'll see.
clean the glass. And Draymond Green will still be Draymond Green too. So
Yeah.
there's that element we can't forget either.
Yeah. So James Wiseman, I'm glad you brought that up. I think he's got a put up or shut up year. I think he is in a situation now where now that Klay Thompson is coming back, I think unlike other rookies where they're going to have flexibility and the time to grow and to learn and to make mistakes, I think James Wiseman is in a situation where it's the exact opposite, where you have Steph Curry, you have Klay Thompson, you have Draymond Green, who are not getting any younger, who have as many minutes and miles on their bodies as they do with the injury history of all three players. I think it's safe to say the Warriors don't truly know how much longer they have with that trio, especially in their prime years, So I think with the Warriors wanting to probably at least add one more ring to the Warriors dynasty and send them off with another championship, James Wiseman isn't going to have the time to make mistakes or fail. You know what I mean? He's going to have to show more than what he showed last year, because if you were to ask the question of who the best big man coming out of that class was before the draft, it was James Wiseman, and it's not even close. You know what I mean? It was James Wiseman, and then it's everybody else. But I think if you actually look back at last year, the answer to the question of who the best big out of that draft class right now is not James Wiseman. It's Isaiah Stewart, and
That's right.
It's Isaiah Stewart, and it's everybody else. And that's not me being a homer. That's just fact. I mean, there's articles from The Athletic. There's people from ESPN. I mean, this is just this isn't a unique opinion, is what I'm saying. So I think James Wiseman never really got a rhythm going and didn't really have a great rookie season, and I think he's gonna really have to improve this year. Otherwise, I think he could fight. He could be in a situation where he might have to fight for minutes at some point. So he's also coming off of shoulder surgery, I believe, too. So that's another thing. So, but Troy, who you got opening night? Lakers Warriors.
Warriors.
Really?
Absolutely. Do not underestimate Steph Curry. I think he's going to be playing with a chip on his shoulder. I think he wants to control the Golden State, right? California, not just the Warriors, right? Not just that Golden State.
You know what, Troy? I originally was excited because I was gonna pick them, and you were gonna be like, oh, Lakers, it's LeBron, it's the Staples Center, it's all this stuff, you know what I mean? But then you surprised me, and I have to be honest, I can't disagree with you. I'm going with the Warriors as well, and here's why. I think that what we saw in the preseason is going to carry over. I was just
gonna say that, Sean, but keep talking.
Because if you haven't watched, I will say that Russell Westbrook's initial performance as a Los Angeles Laker, let's be nice. Let's call it not good. Terrible, actually. Multiple turnovers. Terrible fit. This, just again, I don't look at this and exactly am encouraged. But hey, you know what? We got LeBron in a headband again. We got number 6 LeBron back. He looks like if Miami LeBron went 8 years in the future, which is exactly what he's trying to do. So hey, that'll be fun. But yeah.
Okay. Here's the original question, Sean, that we need to answer. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Does the Los Angeles Lakers going 0-6 raise a red flag in the preseason?
No. I mean, listen, there's nothing you can take out of preseason basketball. I mean, listen, the performances that people put on and the performances that people don't put on, you know what I mean? Like there's nothing to take out of it. It's all dress rehearsal. You know what I'm saying? Like the last year, I remember Jeremy Grant was shooting terribly in the preseason. He was, people were questioning the signing. People people were ready to flip out. You know, a year later, coming off of finishing second in most improved player voting, being one of the gold medalists on the United States men's basketball team, and averaging 25 easily and being one of the best scorers in the league, I feel pretty good about Jeremy Grant. So, yeah, I think there's nothing to take out of it. Plus, I don't think the Lakers are like the team that doesn't care about the preseason at all. Not even a little bit. I mean, LeBron's played so much basketball at this point. Preseason means nothing to that kind of team. So, obviously, I think we're gonna see him take it up a notch. I don't think they're gonna want to lose opening night, especially to LeBron's greatest rival, Steph Curry. However, I think Steph Curry could put up a 50 bomb.
Me too.
So
it's possible. Absolutely. The way you said that was funny because it's true.
He could just drop 50 on their asses. But anyway, now all right, I got to stop doing that voice before I do it the whole podcast. But now, Troy, it is time to talk about the upcoming NBA season. It is time to make our predictions for all the awards coming up. So, there's certain awards we're not going to do. We're not going to do Executive of the Year.
Sportsmanship of the Year.
We're not going to do Sportsmanship of the Year. We're not going to do Sixth Man of the Year. We're not going to do Coach of the Year because we're not here to rank coaches. But what we are going to do is we're going to do the big three, or we're going to do the big four. So we're going to do Most Improved Player. We're going to do Rookie of the Year. We're going to do Defensive Player of the Year. We're going to do MVP. And then we're going to predict our finals and our champion. Does that sound good, Troy?
It does.
All right, perfect. So with that, Troy, let's start with Most Improved Player.
Ready for mine?
Yes.
From the Washington Wizards, Kyle Kuzma.
Okay. I want to hear your case.
Yeah. So I think just like Steph Curry, just like Kevin Durant, Kyle Kuzma is going to have a chip on his shoulder. I think the way he left Los Angeles did not sit well with him. I think bringing him on this team with, again, no cut and clear future and kind of throwing him as the second option next to, of course, Bradley Beal. I think Kyle Kuzma is going to make the Los Angeles Lakers regret trading him. I think Kyle Kuzma is going to have a season, not like stellar. Like, I'm not talking 40 points a game. I'm not talking Bradley Beal numbers here. Mm-hmm. Wink, wink. I'm talking potentially an all-star performance, potentially. I see him truly being that second option on that team, giving him lots of touches, lots of abilities. I think he's going to have the green light really to drive, to shoot, to do anything, Sean.
Imagine if LeBron is a team captain again for the All-Star game.
Yeah.
And then Kyle Kuzma is someone that he could select.
Yeah.
As a all-star member on his team. I'm sorry, that just is a funny scenario to me.
Yeah,
anyway,
it is funny.
Yeah.
So no, I guess I don't really have much than that besides the Wizards truly giving him the green light all the time to perform. And I don't think the Wizards are going to be a good team, but right. I think Kyle Kuzma is going to have ability to really shine out. And I don't want to compare him to last year's Jeremy Grant or last year's Julius Randle.
Please don't. Please
yeah,
don't.
And I'm not because there's nothing to compare. But it's similar situation is what I'm saying. If it's like the green light kind of thing. So
yeah,
I guess that's my case.
I do think it looks like in Washington at the highest right now, he'd probably be their third option. With Beal being their first option, probably Spencer Dinwiddie being their second option. Because here's the thing, I made this prediction a few weeks ago on a video of mine. And I actually have shifted. And right now I'm going to level with Detroit. There's two names. in my head. But I'm going to go with my gut. And my gut is telling me that the most improved player is going to be Michael Porter Jr.
Ooh.
So, Michael Porter Jr., one of the most efficient scoring wings in the league. Guy that came into the league, we wondered about his health. Ever since he's been able to get playing time, he's been perfectly fine, and he's only gotten better every single season. Even with, he was one of those guys that came out in the after the in the bubble, pretty much having an entire off season's worth of time off between the pause and the restart, and he was really able to focus on his game and to really get some of his skills up and really just get better, right? And he's in a situation now in Denver where they're still looking to contend. They want to win as soon as possible, especially, with Jokic in his prime. And Jamal Murray is not going to be playing this year. If he does, it wouldn't be until the end of the year. I don't think he's playing this year, though. That's my opinion. And so I think Michael Porter Jr. is going to be asked to do a lot more. And I think with a significantly higher workload, I think with the tools that he's already shown that are in his arsenal, I think we could be seeing an all-star season out of Michael Porter Jr.
Wow. And I think I know your second guy too, Lonzo Ball, right?
Yep.
Chicago Bulls.
Yep, 100%. Because listen, I think he's the most slept-on point guard in the league. I think he's only going to shine in Chicago, but at the same time, I've also expected him to do that in New Orleans, and that didn't really happen. Some of that he could have he had control of. Some of that he didn't. But it's one of those things where I think Chicago is a perfect situation for him. But I think just my gut's telling me that Michael Porter. I've seen Michael Porter Jr. have those flashes. I think this year he could really just take off. So, he potentially could be their cornerstone piece in the next few years.
Wow.
So,
Nuggets fans, the future is bright, I guess.
Oh, yeah. They just, just how stupidly well they've drafted. Yeah, they're doing pretty good. All right. Rookie of the year. Now, Troy, I do think it is important for us to say we are Detroit Pistons fans. And there is a certain guy that we are a little biased towards. But having said that, Troy, who's your rookie of the year?
Cade Cunningham is going to have the best rookie season. So therefore, my answer has to be Cade Cunningham. Big, however, the media very much is obsessed with that little twat from Houston.
Okay.
Jalen Green.
Okay.
So it might have to be Jalen Green. It might have to be Jalen Green.
Are you going with Jalen Green?
I'm going with Jalen Green, but I do believe Cade Cunningham is going to have the better rookie season. But I do think the true winner of the rookie of the year will be Jalen Green.
I'm going with Cade Cunningham, and here's why. I think, first of all, I think Jalen Green is definitely going to put up numbers. His efficiency is going to be terrible this year. It is going to be like he is going to shoot. If he gets 25 a game, it's going to be on 35% shooting. Like, you know what I mean? Like he it's not that he's not a good jump shooter. It's just like he's just looking to score, and that is all he's looking to do. And he will shoot even if there's no good reason to. And so, and I think Cade, I just have a feeling, man, just watching a lot of his tape from back in the day, just seeing how much he wants to be a vocal leader, how ready he is to step in. I think he's going to have the ball in his hands primarily, and I think having the keys to the car that he does to create and to play make and to be that Luka type guy, I think it's a Luka versus Trae Young type of comparison where both guys are great, but at the end of the day, Luka's special in the same way that Cade is special. You know what I'm saying? So,
No, and obviously, like I said, I do think Cade is going to
yeah,
have the better season.
yeah,
I
no,
do
yeah.
think Cade is the better player. I just know how the world is with this guy.
Well, here's the
He
thing, Troy. Here's the thing. All of the flashy moments and everything that we've seen, all of these games haven't mattered yet. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And all they've had to focus on, because here's the thing, Jalen Green, he is a fun player to watch.
Mm-hmm.
He is the more fun story if you look at it on paper, right?
And he's a stud.
Yeah, he is a stud. Here's the thing, the guy can play. So of course it's juicy when it's like, yeah, you think you should have been taken number 1, don't you? And he's like, yep, I do. And they're like, oh, you're edgy there, Jalen. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just, it's hard for me to like take that seriously at this point. And it's like, because here's the thing, at the end of the day, what people are going to be talking about is who's winning and like who's excelling. And I think Detroit, I think people are going to look at that team and see them take genuine steps. And I think Cade is going to be the leader of that. And I think Jalen, I think all you're going to see is like some highlights and some impressive plays, but like at the end of the day, they're going to be, you know, I think both teams are going to be, you know, in the lottery, but like, I think Detroit, I just think Cade's going to play a different type of level of game and is going to have all around better stats. That's my opinion.
And I do agree with that. I fully do, Sean. I just don't know if the media sees that picture, that the beautiful picture that you painted, the beautiful, true picture that you painted, because I fully agree with you 100%. I just don't know if the NBA world thinks like Sean Murphy thinks, but Sean Murphy is the better thinker, by the way.
The better thinker. Oh my gosh, making me sound like I'm like Alex Jones of the NBA world. The media doesn't want you to think that Jalen Green. I'm telling you. Oh my gosh, that aggressiveness. That wow. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, but yeah, it really is between Jalen and there's no one else in the picture, right? I mean, like, listen, I like Scotty Barnes. I like Jalen Suggs. I think he's going to be fun. It's either Cade or Jalen Green. It's one of those guys, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, Evan Mobley's not winning Rookie of the Year, right?
He's not. He's just not going to do it.
He's good. I have watched him play. He's fun to watch. Don't get me wrong. He's fun. But good luck. Anyway.
I think Scotty Barnes' ceiling is a little higher than his, though.
I can see it. If Scotty Barnes' ceiling is higher, Evan Mobley's floor is higher.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I think if I were to argue anything, and here's the thing, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that because Evan Mobley's a freaking unicorn. Like the thing that guy can do is scary. That's my one pushback. But defensive player of the year. Troy, who you got?
As the great chef Emerald used to say, Bam!
Bam Adebayo.
Bam Adebayo from the Miami Heat. Yeah, Bam's great. Like he's just such a long, stretchy guy. You know, I think of course, obviously in the past, the big guy is Rudy Gobert, right? And I kind of see a passing of the torch here from Rudy Gobert to Bam. And I just see that they play very similar. But I think Bam just has that younger athleticism to him. And I think with him on that good Miami team now with Kyle Lowry and with Jimmy Butler, I just think he pairs well with the team that, you know, the media is going to be looking at and, you know, the NBA fan is going to be looking at as well. Yeah. So I think the spotlight is going to be on the Miami Heat, you know, to some degree for the Eastern Conference. And Bam's going to be, you know, really performing well with his rebounding, with his block shots. And, you know, wouldn't bet money on it, but I don't really see. I'm sure there's other cases you can make, but I don't see anything in my.
He feels like he just feels like the choice.
He just feels like the choice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I am going to go a different direction, and I'm going with Anthony Davis of the Los Angeles Lakers. I think if there's anything that the Lakers can hang their hat on, it's going to be defense. And I think if you're looking at the quarterback of the defensive end of the Los Angeles Lakers, it has to be Anthony Davis if they want to be successful. I think his versatility to guard on the perimeter in the mid range and also in the paint to play the 4, the 5, to guard guards, like, just everything that he can do. He has shown that he is an elite defender, and I think if there's anything that the Lakers will be this year, it is dominant defensively. And so I think Anthony Davis is certainly someone that can take that home, especially if he plays. So right. I'm expecting a statement year out of Anthony Davis. I will say that much. If he delivers anything short of that, I think he's going to have some real answering to do and some real reevaluating to do. So I'm expecting big things, and I expect he'll deliver. So that would be my argument. So that's what I'm looking at. And also, if you want to talk about the media, nothing looks better than getting a guy in a Lakers uniform an award. So
right, that's true.
Hey, you know what? We'll take that. But now, Troy, the second biggest thing that you can achieve in a season, other than winning the finals, is winning the MVP. From a individual standpoint, it is a special award. And Troy, who are you picking to be the most valuable player 2022?
The 6'3" point guard of the Dallas Mavericks, Luka Doncic.
I'm sorry, how tall?
6'3". 6'1".
Luka Doncic?
6'6". 6'4".
He's like 6'9". What?
6'7".
6'7", 6'1".
6'3".
Luka Doncic is beefy, dude.
6'7". Yes, I know he's beefy, but I guess for some reason in my head I had 6'3" in my head. But yeah, 6'7". The 6'7" point guard, point forward from the Dallas Mavericks, Luka beefy Doncic, right? So Luka, I'm expecting a breakout year, right? I mean, it's not like he hasn't had a breakout year already, but I'm expecting something bigger and better than what we've seen so far.
Right.
I expect him to be up there in points per game, assists as well. I see him carrying a Dallas Mavericks team definitely beyond the play-in tournament, right? I see a fifth, fourth, maybe even third seed out of the Mavericks, depending on how far Luka can take them. I just see Luka really evolving. Now, this is year 4 for Luka, or three or four.
This is year 4.
This is year 4. That's what I thought. So year 4 out of Luka, I expect his game was already right here, right, Sean?
Mm-hmm,
it's gonna be right here. So
and now with Jason Kidd at the coach too, giving him the keys to the car.
Make massive improvements, I think, for Luka. So Luka will be the MVP of the 2021-2022 season.
I like it, Troy. And listen, I think that is if you're looking realistically, that is a pretty hard argument to dispute. But for the sake of us having different answers, because I think that's the smart way to play this. My answer for the most valuable player of 2022, it's Kevin Durant. Y'all know who he is. Now here's why, Troy. First of all, Kevin Durant has to be at just motivation wise. First of all, how pissed he has to be at Kyrie right now. How much he knows that he has a lot to prove. How the narrative is that the Warriors carried him to the championships. People don't realize how scary it is that he probably hasn't played his best basketball yet. Mm-hmm. And that is terrifying, because it doesn't get better than what he did against the Milwaukee Bucks at home, Game 5, and Game 7. Like the the guy is phenomenal, man. Like, just no one alive can do what he can do with a basketball. And for a guy, I think, listen, I think he and James Harden both are going to have incredible seasons. And I think they both are going to be MVP candidates. However, I think Kevin Durant is just going to, if assuming he's able to play a good portion of the season, which, even though he did play in the Olympics, I think that was good conditioning for him. But also, he did have an off season where he was healthy. So that is huge. Not only that, but also to have a roster that they do have with James Harden, with Patty Mills, with Blake Griffin, with Paul Millsap. They're gonna be a top 1 or 2 seed in the East.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna be a championship contender, and Kevin Durant is going to be the best player in the world this year. He is going to take the throne this year.
I love it, Sean. And just as you said with my Luka argument, it's hard to even go against that. And there's only be one MVP, and I would have a hard time with anyone besides those two, to be honest with you. So.
Now, I thought your media response, like I laughed at it, like it's like, for the other awards, I thought it was like a funny joke, but like this is kind of like the one where you could truly go, the media. There's no award that is a narrative-driven award quite like the MVP. So with this award, it's especially hard because not only do you have to guess who you think from a basketball standpoint deserves this award, but you're also having the question of what narrative is going to be tied to it. What's going to be the story that leads to this happening? You know what I mean? Because it's hard to see LeBron James have a story where he's the MVP this year, especially when you have Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook on your team. I think if you have all those, talented players on your team, I think it's hard. I think Kevin Durant not having Kyrie on his team, I think that's going to open him up to win MVP. So it's crazy how that award works, isn't it?
Right. And you said a first or second seed, Sean. I can't see anyone in the East passing them.
Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, but I guess I view the Bucks more of a playoff team. I mean, they've been the number 1 seed the past couple.
I'd argue they're more of a. I'd argue the Milwaukee Bucks historically are a regular season team. It was only last year that they pulled the trigger and got it done.
Right, because before that they had some early second round, third round exits. So I guess you're right there. So of course Milwaukee could shake them up a little bit. So
it's kind of like how the Jazz had the best record in the league last year.
Right.
And it's sad. It saddens me to say I can't ever trust to pick them to win the finals because they choke and they choke hard.
And I feel like they're a true regular season team, not because they're a regular season team, but because they're just not a playoff team, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously last year they had some injury stuff. Donovan Mitchell wasn't 100% when he came back. I mean, there are things there, but I mean, listen, they also. They were not up to expectations, and the Clippers were surely not at full strength either. So, that is a whole other thing for a whole other day. But now, Troy, the moment we've all been waiting for, the NBA Finals. Troy, who is playing in the NBA Finals, and who is winning the NBA Finals, and in how many games?
2022 NBA Finals are going to consist of, from the Eastern Conference, the Brooklyn Nets, and from the Western Conference, the Los Angeles Lakers.
What?
The winner.
I'm kidding, of course. Yeah, anyway, keep going. I was joking.
My heart stopped.
I was joking. Of course it's going to be them.
The winner is going to be the Brooklyn Nets in 6 games. And Kevin Durant will be the NBA Finals MVP. And if the narrative goes the way that Sean has described, then Kevin Durant will be the MVP and the NBA Finals MVP.
I like it.
Which not many players have done, but it's been done before. So
I like it.
Steph, Michael Jordan, we've seen a couple. So
yep. So now for me, Troy, I hate when you put me in these positions where I have to agree with you, because the Brooklyn Nets will beat the Los Angeles Lakers for the NBA title this year. But for the sake of argument, they're going to do it in 5. Gentlemen sweep them. I think Russell Westbrook is going to melt down in the finals, and I think it is going to be the most public meltdown we have seen a star have in years. I think it's going to be one on the likes of Ben Simmons. I'm going bold on this one.
This is bold, Sean.
But listen, historically, Russell Westbrook has melted down in the playoffs. History's on my side.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's anything we know, it's that what is Russell Westbrook going to do while being on the court with LeBron and Anthony Davis? Be at the 3-point line? Be in the post? Be in the mid-range? You're going to put him on the elbow? What are you going to do? I'd put him on the elbow. Oh my gosh, man. Like, he's just the most... Yeah. Like, people don't understand that fit does matter when you're talking about super teams. Like, the reason why the Warriors dynasty was so good was because of how perfect they fit together. Like, the way that they played offensive basketball was an art form. It was mosaic. It was perfection.
And the Spurs teams too in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. But okay, so Sean, I got a question for you. So public meltdown by Los Angeles Lakers point guard Russell Westbrook in the NBA Finals against his former teammate Kevin Durant, who has
Kevin Durant and James Harden.
Yeah, and James Harden, who they have some bad blood at over the years. What will that do with it's like our highlight of our unofficial highlight of the topic here is media, right? The media will eat that up like a piece of cake.
I'm not talking about the media, Troy.
I'm talking about the media. I wanted to change gears here to the media of how they will react to Russell Westbrook having a choke in your scenario in the NBA Finals against those two teammates while putting on that Los Angeles uniform.
I will reframe it like this. How will this affect his legacy? How will people tell his story? I think the way that affects his legacy, the way that affects how people tell his story, I think it would be the nail in the coffin. I think the only way that comes back is if he redeems himself. And I'm not. And now here's the thing. In all seriousness, the guy knows how to play basketball. The odds of him actually having a public meltdown is low, right? Obviously, a lot of that's hyperbole. However, I will say that if he does make it to the finals, his chances of playing good basketball are low. I will stand by that.
Yeah.
That I will say. And if that happens, it's going to be the same thing. It's the downfall of Russell Westbrook. It is his lack of willingness to adapt to the modern game and to improve his jump shot to ultimately stay on the court and be effective. You know, we know who Russell Westbrook is at this point, you know? So what LeBron can get out of him that other people haven't, I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see, Kevin Durant couldn't win a championship with him. Will LeBron James? And I think the answer is hell no, because I think James Harden and Kevin Durant are the two of the greatest offensive basketball players in the history of the game, and the fact that they are going to be running an offense together, Jesus Christ, the scary hours that it is about to be in the NBA, Troy.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I'm so excited, though. Like, what a freaking season, dude. The 75th season of the NBA, dude. Oh, my gosh, Troy.
It's going to be one of the best.
I am so excited, man. And now, it as of right now, on your end, it already has been NBA opening day. It's been NBA opening day on our end for 16 minutes now, Troy. That is hype. Let's freaking go, man. But anywho, now we have to close by taking a journey to the top of Mount Rushmore. And there's only one guide that can give us the proper tour. And that, of course, is Troy Sergey. And it is time for From Mount Rushmore with Troy Sergey. Troy, take it away.
Yes. All right, Sean, we're back here at Mount Rushmore in the Black Hills of South Dakota. And we are going to be looking at the top 4, the Mount Rushmore, in honor of the start of the 75th NBA season, the Mount Rushmore of the greatest individual games of all time. And playoffs are included.
I was going to
Matter of
say,
fact,
I was going
pretty
to
much, I
fight.
think my whole list, maybe one, I still haven't decided my 4th yet, will be all playoff games.
I was going to fight you if that was not allowed.
Yes. So we're definitely going to have playoff games, maybe even all playoff games, but that's still the NBA. Hey, the regular season sets you up for the playoffs, right, Sean? So we can fully accept playoff games. So
I will tell you right now, pretty much all of my answers are finals games.
And mine, I think, are 2. Maybe I'm still wrestling with this 4th one, but I'm going to start us off. I'm going to take us a journey back 41 years ago to the great year of 1980, the year my father graduated high school. 1980, the NBA Finals was between the Philadelphia 76ers and Los Angeles Lakers. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was definitely the star of that Lakers team, but they were definitely led by a rookie named Earvin Magic Johnson, who had just 2 years earlier or 3 years earlier had won a high school state championship for Everett High School in the state of Michigan. Then 2 years later, won a national championship for Michigan State University. And now as a rookie was in the NBA Finals. And it was game 6, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, their star player, got hurt in game 5. And the Lakers were up 3-2 in this series. But with their star player out, it was very much seen like this series is already over because Philadelphia is going to win game 6 and 7, both at home. That's when the NBA played the 2-3-2 kind of home game, away game type of thing. So it's very rare when a team is up 3-2 of being seen as the underdog, and that the team who is down 2-3 is seen as the favorite. But that was the case once Kareem Abdul-Jabbar got injured. And rookie Earvin Magic Johnson put on a performance playing center, who's traditionally a point guard in his rookie year, and scored 42 points and led the Los Angeles Lakers to the NBA Finals and NBA Finals champion, led them to the championship in 1980. Earvin Magic Johnson, in a 3-year span, was a high school champion, a college champion, and an NBA champion. And for Magic Johnson to do that as a rookie in game 6, when his star player is out on the road in Philadelphia, that game has to be in my Mount Rushmore.
There you go, man. Hey, Earvin Magic Johnson, the greatest basketball player I've ever met. And that is a flex I will wear till the rest of my days. So now so now I get to put one on the Mount Rushmore?
Yeah, maybe you can comment for 10 seconds on that game. Or
yeah, absolutely.
Whatever,
absolutely. I mean, it was the coming out party of Magic Johnson, right? I mean, there's no, it's unheard of for a rookie to come out into his first year and to have an impact like that instantly. Granted, it's also, not heard of in our day for the team that wins the championship to get the number 1 pick. But for some reason, the NBA thought that was a good system. That's a whole other conversation for a whole different day. And I mean, listen, Magic Johnson is one of the most versatile players to ever play. I mean, just the array that he has and the ability that he had to win at every single level. Just from the moment from the moment he arrived, it was his world.
Yep.
And everyone else is just living in it. And from the moment he arrived, it was him versus Larry Bird too, because he went on.
And who won Rookie of the Year that year? Do you know? Not Magic Johnson.
Larry Bird.
Larry Bird won Rookie of the Year. Yep. But go ahead.
Yep. So when I'm looking at Mount Rushmore, obviously I was surprised that you went all the way, that you went that far back to start, and I felt inspired. So I figured before we got to games in our era, I would close with one that was before our time a little bit as well. And I'm going to go with, this list would not be proper if it did not have Michael Jordan on it. And I think there is no more worthy of a submission to the Mount Rushmore of greatest NBA games other than Game 5 Bulls Jazz 1997, otherwise known as the flu game.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jordan getting getting poisoned by a pizza from a shitty bar in Utah. getting this disgusting foul pizza, battles the stomach flu, puts up 38 points in a game where the Bulls ended up winning 90-88. So not only did Michael Jordan put up a great performance, he carried them to a win that game and
Absolutely.
helped essentially seal the series. And so it was a deciding game because the series was tied at 2-2, that they needed him to step up more than ever. And I mean, listen, if there is a game, if there isn't a game quite like that to describe who Michael Jordan is, I don't know what does. So
yeah, absolutely. And the fact that Gatorade, the company, makes a commercial for that game to promote, electrolytes being replaced after you sweat. It's just kind of cool that Gatorade made a commercial off of that one game.
Oh yeah, 100%. It like also just all like the conspiracy theories around that game too.
Mm-hmm.
Just
was
like
it a hangover? Was it food poisoning?
Yeah. Was he at the casino?
Right.
It turns out it was a Supreme pizza from a crappy bar in Utah. So isn't that just special?
Yeah.
And now, Troy, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
There are 2 games left on this list, right? Because there's 4 in Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, I guess I was thinking my Mount Rushmore, your Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
But we could do that. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what. Yeah, I was thinking my Mount Rushmore and your Mount Rushmore because we've kind of gone on this pattern of maybe disagreements throughout. So I'm gonna with the MVP voting and all that.
Okay.
So
right.
I'm gonna go my Mount Rushmore, your Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go number 2 on my list. And that is going to be Game 7 of the 2016 NBA Finals.
That was going to be one of the games. Good.
Golden State Warriors and Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yep.
What a fun game from start to finish. Now, there's so much on the line here. This is the Golden State Warriors 73-9 season. They were the best team in NBA history in the regular season, and they were up 3-1 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Everyone was counting Cleveland out. Cleveland hadn't won a professional sports championship in all major sports in over 50 years. And they win Game 5 on the road, and they go back to Cleveland and home, and they win Game 6. And now here it is. All for the marbles, right? Game 7, and very much defensive game, but still some great shots by Kyrie and Steph. And then you saw the block from LeBron James at the end there, and that's kind of his signature moment. He didn't really have a signature moment up until then, right? I mean, we think of all the NBA players have a signature moment, but LeBron James did not have a signature moment.
Yeah, because even his championships in Miami, like, it never felt like like that. You know what I mean? I think when I look back on that game, I think the thing that was special to me is like there was no game that I looked back on and just knew it was going to be great quite like that one. I remember thinking this is going to be this could be the greatest NBA game of all time.
Yeah,
like just the stakes,
it
was exactly, and that's the thing. Like I remember I had to work that day. I had to clean toilets in a hospital. I remember every opportunity I had turning on that game. I recorded it. I went back and watched it. I did such a terrible job at cleaning a hospital that day because I had to watch as much of that game as I could.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. It was incredible.
I remember I was at some friend's house, and the Cavs were down a little bit, close to double digits in the third quarter. And my good friend, who's a LeBron fan, he had a pool in his backyard. And this was like, early June in the Upper Peninsula, but at nighttime. So, it was still in the upper 40s.
Wee bit nippy.
Yeah. And he said, if the Cavs win, I'm jumping into the pool. And the Cavs won. And he ran in his backyard. Pool. We all had our Snapchats out, and he jumped right into his freezing cold pool. And it was awesome. That in our generation, at least in our lifetime, that is the greatest NBA game.
100%.
All my other ones are not Yeah, I'm still struggling with my fourth one, but we'll get there. We'll get
Yeah,
there. Do you have a second number?
well that's that. I mean, that's it right there. So I'll
That's your
just
number two.
yeah. So
Okay.
I'll skip right ahead to my third.
Okay.
And maybe this might even be your fourth. I'm not sure,
Mm-hmm.
but involving another player that has already been on this list. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, he was just in that game. I have to
Mm-hmm.
go with Game 6, 2013, Miami Heat versus the San Antonio Spurs.
Ooh.
Ray Allen
Mm.
in the corner, saving the Miami Heat from elimination from the NBA Finals, going in the favor of the San Antonio Spurs. Just the most even of matchups in the Spurs and the Heat. And for Miami to be on the brink of losing the finals again, for them to have to come and win in overtime, how tense that game was and how evenly matched they were and how menacing the Spurs were, and just how remarkable of a shot that was from Ray Allen in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Just perfection. Just
Yeah.
just simple perfection. Like that was to me, that's the best game I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was fun. I remember watching it too.
That's the best game I ever saw of the Heatles era. That was just
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a fun game to watch, Sean. And I do remember like when LeBron missed that three, I could not believe it
Same.
because it was like all the hype around Miami, all the hype around the big three. They came this far
Yeah.
for it seemed so similar to 2011, 2 years earlier when they lost to Dallas. Like it was like after all this hype, they truly are only going to get one championship out of this.
Right.
Then Chris Bosh got the offensive rebound. So like it's amazing how many thoughts can go in your head in a 3-second span.
Yeah.
But all of those thoughts that I just shared with you were in my head in that 3-second span.
Yeah. Like to simply watch the fate of people's legacies, people's perceptions, the entire construction of that team, like just the entire legacy of that dynasty team is on the line in that shot, and so just how chaotic of a final 5 seconds it was. Just that's what I'll take with me forever. It's just how truly insane it was. Like
Absolutely.
that one's special. I think we've grown up in a golden era of basketball.
We did.
We really
and that's
did.
going to bring me to my next point. My third on my Mount Rushmore is going to be a regular season game in our lifetime. And that is going to be in mid-April in 2016. On the line playoff team. They were on the line, 9th seed versus an 8th seed getting into the playoffs if they won this game. The Utah Jazz playing against the very lowly bottom lottery Los Angeles Lakers.
Kobe's final game.
But there's a plot twist. It's Kobe Bryant's last game as an NBA player. And I just watched the first quarter of this game, Sean. I did not watch this whole thing live. I watched just the first quarter, and Kobe hit a couple of shots, and it was like, yeah, cool. Kobe's last name. He'll score 14 points and get a standing ovation at the end. I'll watch the highlights on SportsCenter. And then I woke up that morning, and I checked Twitter of all places at like 7 a.m. because it was a school day. And all I just saw was 60. No context, just 60.
Right.
And I was like, Kobe Bryant did not score 60 points. So what is this hashtag 60 all about? But guess what? Kobe Bryant did score 60 points that game. To think of how old was he? 38 years old that season? 38 years old, 38-year-old man who, was struggling all season.
On his knees. Yeah.
Yeah. He really was a role player on that Lakers team that year. I mean, it was his last year. Yeah, he had the, final tours, especially those Eastern Conference arenas.
He was a shell of himself.
He was such a shell of himself.
Yeah.
And to go out there and to score 60 points on a team that is desperately trying to make the playoffs, it was unbelievable. and
Yeah.
watching those highlights. And it just, of course he's passed away now, but his legacy forever. An individual single performance game, a farewell game like that, to score 60 points, to truly be an assassin, to look like he did that year he won MVP in
Yeah.
2007, now doing it 9 years later.
It was
Words cannot describe that game, Sean, of
that.
how
Yeah.
incredible that is.
That is my, even if I didn't list it as like the greatest game of all time, that is my favorite game of all time. Just the, to your point, late great Kobe Bryant. So I watched every minute of this game.
Okay.
And I because no matter what, I just needed to watch Kobe's final game. And like, it was, first couple quarters, wasn't really anything special, but whenever Kobe got the ball, it was entertaining. And, this was the Gordon Hayward Jazz, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it was a fun game,
They were trying to get the dub though. The Jazz were trying to get the dub.
100%. Yeah. 100%. But what Kobe Bryant did, not only in that second half, but just in that game in general, and just in that night, just it encapsulated everything Kobe meant and everything Kobe was.
Yeah.
And for him to just deliver that, like that was magic. What, like that, if I could bottle like any air, or like if I could take that atmosphere and put it in a bottle and hold on to it, like if there's anything I could hold on to like that forever, it would be the feeling of that Staples Center arena after Kobe said Mamba out and dropped the mic, and when I think of what I'll remember from Kobe Bryant, that night is everything and more I'm going to remember Kobe Bryant for. So to your point, that game was magic. Yeah. Absolute magic. That has to be the fourth on my list.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that is going to be your fourth on your list.
Yeah, that's going to be my fourth. I can't give it to anything else.
Okay. So my fourth on my list is going to be, you talked about the same series, but the year after. You talked about Jazz and Bulls in 1997. Well, I'm going to go game 6 of Utah Jazz and Chicago Bulls in 1998.
Yes.
Game 6, the shot, right?
The shot.
Had Michael Jordan not gone back to Washington Wizards, that would have been his final moment in the NBA, the shot, right? And, The Last Dance does such a great job of, encapsulating that last season, that last dance for the Chicago Bulls, that 1997-1998 season for them, and just how magical that season really was. And to cap it off like the way they did, with such class and such style, to truly say an end to one of the most incredible eras of basketball, individual and historically team talented teams like the Bulls were and the Michael Jordan Bulls were.
Right.
To cap it off like that, with that shot at the end and having it be a close game down to the wire.
Yeah.
But of course, the man of all men, Michael Jordan, making that shot at the end.
And not just a shot either, but that shot. That
shot.
The quintessential Michael Jordan from the elbow crossover. Yeah. Like exactly verbatim what Michael Jordan did to the Cleveland Cavaliers towards the beginning of his career. He closes it with that shot.
Passion. Yeah. And not only that, but the ball didn't hit the rim. Nothing but net. Net. Beautiful, right?
in that, like, especially with how much he was just on his final legs, like just how tired he was, how spent he was. It, like, just the fashion that he just said, let's go home.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah.
And just closed, especially for a 6th championship.
Right. Right.
And
and with us being such NBA fans, Sean, don't want to close that too much because it is my fourth on my list, but I do want to name a couple honorable mention. Maybe you have a couple too. Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game in the 1960s. I mean, that has to be said, right?
Yeah.
100 points in a game in our lifetime. Pretty good. Yeah. I mean, Devin Booker's 71 against Boston.
Kobe's
Definitely up there.
81.
Kobe's 81 has to be up there.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's a shame I couldn't put this one on the list. Another LeBron one, but I would say LeBron's second most incredible performance was going to be game 6 of the 2012 Eastern Conference Finals at Boston. Do you know what game I'm talking about? When he went out for 45, he was facing elimination really after right, he got bounced in the playoffs the year before against Dallas in the finals, and now they're down 3-2 on the road at Boston, and Boston has a chance to close them out and go to the finals. And LeBron's still ringless at this point.
Yep.
And he puts on a 45-point absolute incredible performance. Like, it was a man amongst boys, and everyone was a boy, and LeBron James was a man that game. Like, it was incredible. Anyone who has not seen the highlights or remembers that game needs to watch LeBron James, Game 6, 2012 Eastern Conference Finals. Yes, but go ahead.
I was just gonna say another honorable mention. My favorite Pistons game I've ever I've as an adult, 2018 Blake Griffin 50-point bomb, Sixers Pistons.
Double overtime.
Blake Griffin was that guy that night, man. That was a fun one. Only time I've seen a star on my team score 50 in my lifetime. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that's got to be on there as well. But Troy, man, so good, reliving some great games. And the good news is that on opening day of the season, we are only meant for more to come in the 75th season of the National Basketball Association. Ladies and gentlemen, the NBA season is upon us. And that means that what you're going to want to do is click subscribe, follow this podcast, and make sure you're tuned in, because From Half Court is the place that you want to be. We are the best NBA content on YouTube, the best NBA voices out there. We are the greatest in the world and the best to see. We are on the top of the mountain, and we are only halfway up. So be sure to be tuned in, and we will catch you next time from Half Court. Be sure to subscribe.